all.
Chris, is this your kiddo?
Yes, this is Evie. This is Lacey.
Hi. How was your drive? Tiring. I totally get that. I get tired on long drives too.
A little bit of a curveball. My younger one might be getting sick, so she's up there.
Gotcha.
So she's down here with me by herself. So if she needs anything, can she talk to you?
Absolutely. If you need
and
anything at all,
if you can't find the Airbnb,
the what?
Lacey can show you. I think she's been up there enough that if she needs to go up there, she's good.
Yeah.
But if she gets lost, and then there's the coffee shop next door too. Just just come back in here if you get lost, okay?
Yeah, if you need anything at all. Mind if I throw some tunes on? Just
yeah. I feel like the LaCroix is going to get knocked over.
yeah, how do I don't know how to do that, how to get starting, do you?
I don't know anything about these things. Can you just hit start now?
Let's see. Figure out. Oh, I can invite you. You'll be invited to join once you go live. No, that doesn't help. Oh, what's this?
Okay, yeah.
No?
Yeah, we work for kidney specialists, so we have like a big office in Fort Wayne, and then they have other.
No groups available for you. Don't belong to any groups. Okay.
So they'll go out, they'll go shit off.
Cross posting.
Yeah, we're in South Volcano. Yeah, they got us in Minneapolis as well.
Brian.
Oh.
This is my wife, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
That's a buddy of mine does the same thing you do. You know, like sort of things. Brian and Vicky. He's from like Evanston area. He plays guitar.
Yeah, one of your first videos I saw, like on social media, was a Venus song. Oh yeah. One person using these videos.
Well, I've done. I have in my
Are you most of those sleeping bunk beds out there? Yeah.
You got 3 boys? Yeah.
They're all.
This is the other like George Harrison.
The third one was part of the experience of the house.
Well, you also
Nothing's going on. Yes. Somebody asked me yesterday, like, how do you find it? Most of the time, ready to get out of bed.
We can make. Yeah, I mean, the thing about a podcast taping is, right? It's like a studio situation. Hey,
That band's here. Everyone's here.
they're coming.
In Dinosaur we did, which was the DVD. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably been. That's searchable. If I just so much action. Just walk away. I wanted to get him out here to friendly. You have there, right? I actually didn't know it. I think it was
He was like, you go down, you head down.
no, because I don't see a lot of house here. I need to get more. And I should.
It's a gallery.
No, I just wondered if that was kept clicking the I kind of work with a graphic designer, which is the other thing that's tricky, is like how to figure out how to change it. So that's it's supposedly easy to change. Right. I'm just not sure. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to do everything I need to do for my career versus how to allow myself to only do stuff that I can do. You seem to handle a lot for yourself. Necessities. You know, back in the day when we first had a
But you can also
So where are you at? Are you still anything up? No, I jumped to a guy that's a musician started his own company.
stars with constellations.
Maybe like the best
Let me see if I can find her.
Yeah, you had that. When I did get down from my daily. The most cool one.
Oh, here it is.
See,
Indiana guy or lots of people down there.
Will you stay with your sister while you get a club soda?
Like more this usually like grassroots or like music producers. Yeah, like even like online programs, like learn to do this, learn to do that, based on how. Where you guys going? Maybe vanilla latte.
At the bar?
There's a coffee shop.
We're going right here to this bar. It's the same?
There's a coffee shop, then a bar.
Yeah, the first room here is coffee shop, and there's like a bunch of different food and drinks. There's a cooler.
Okay.
That you
And
can-
then the other one over there.
Yeah.
Come on, S. Oh yeah, you want to say your story, of course.
Maybe we wait just a couple minutes for them to come back. Okay.
Have you heard of any of the Berwyn friends of Chris Gatton? I don't know, Johnny, Mallory, Kelly. A couple of them have mentioned wanting to
Yeah.
come. I don't know if
I'm
they're-
surprised Kelly isn't here. I just talked to her on the phone the other day.
I talked to her today.
Oh, you did?
I hadn't heard. She just asked me what time I started.
Cool.
And then I'm missing some. I forgot to text Catherine.
Oh, shoot. I think she's in the city.
Nice. Lacey,
Yes.
have you started this? It's been a while.
I have not.
When you started, can you just send me the link to my text? And I can just discreetly
Totally.
throw it up. While Ted's talking, I'll just look like I'm on my phone. I want to post the link for the stream, but it's not live yet. Okay. So I'm like, when you send it, just let me know and I'll. Like,
Well, there's
sorry,
probably
Ted,
a way to.
like playing Candy Crush.
Share to story.
I'm sort of waiting for Nan to talk.
Nan had to feed Tucker. She should be here.
Hey, Nan.
No idea what I'm gonna play. Just kind of wait for Miguel to ask me a question and hopefully it sparks a aha. I just had the thought. I'm gonna throw up my madness. Just so if I'm like, why can't I think of any of my songs? That's not bad.
So the only sort of oddity in doing this, because we're really, doing a tiny thing, right?
Right, is to really kind of be consistently on the microphone.
Yep.
Wherever that sweet spot is. And these are omnidirectional, but still, like it's a little off your mouth, like adjusted so it's really pointing straight at you. And then Chris, you'll have to figure out a little bit like when you're singing versus when
You're conversing. Because if you go tighter on the microphone, but sort of keep your voice in a sort of
Sexy
inside
podcast
voice, then you get that effect.
But if you want to,
That's so cool.
be a little bit off the mic, but you want to just find your sweet spot and kind of stay on it.
That was a pretty epic day. Got to meet Derek and yeah.
Welcome to the show.
It's cell phone radiation. Near something.
Zofia.
There you go.
We have a,
Oh, technical thing going on.
We go away?
Did it go away? It's back?
It's kind of in there.
It's probably because this is an unbalanced cable.
Should I go
Oh
get it?
no, but that wouldn't be going to the speakers.
Alright.
Is this unbalanced? They used to run it unbalanced. Oh, let's get a pocket.
No.
It's just picking up radio stuff. Radio, you know.
I think we'll just have to, we might just have to live with it.
okay.
The other nice thing about doing podcasting is we can edit things endlessly. So, hey everybody, thank you so much for being here. We are going to be recording a friendly conversation. The Friendly Music Community podcast is available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. And Friendly Conversations is a very deliberate construct for the Friendly Music Community podcast. They're not really interviews, they're conversations. It's really about talking about making art and making music and the process we all go through, and how we live and feel and inhabit the world. And today we have Chris Gatton and Ted Yoder, who are visiting the Friendly Music Community from far, far away. The far, far away of Columbus, Ohio for Chris Gatton, and Goshen, Indiana for Ted Yoder. I'd love to open up with a very basic question, which is how, given Ohio and Indiana, I mean, sure, they're next to each other, but they're pretty freaking big states. How did you two cross paths?
You told the story. Well, I'll start by saying I was new to the Chicago area in terms of my playing, and so I booked a show at a venue, and I asked them if they had somebody local that could bring out some people, maybe to catch my music. That'd be cool. And they said, yeah, we got a great guy with a good local draw, Ted Yoder. And I looked him up, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. So I got excited. In the meantime, I did another show here at the Friendly. Really loved the community and connected with Lacey and everybody here. And so I reached out to her and said, hey, can I stay in the Airbnb while I play this show at this other venue? And she said, yeah, and I said, maybe you can come to the open mic night. So I came a night early to do the open mic night and everything. Well, in the meantime, the person who scheduled Ted as my opener was fired. We don't know why, but and then the person that replaced them saw, I think, the magnificence of Ted Yoder's artistry and said, this guy should be opening for should be doing his own show. So they booked him the next night as the headliner. And so all that local draw sort of was like, oh, we'd rather see Ted on his own. So my show had one Ted Yoder fan who was unable to attend the next night and zero anyone else. But it was actually kind of a magical night because I was here. I was already here because I played the night before at the Friendly, and I was like, there was 4 tickets sold. Oh, I forgot, there was an opener too. Another opener who got sick. And so I think she had sold 3 tickets. Her fans didn't come, and so I decided to continue for whoever was going to make it. And so I show up at the venue, we get all ready to go, and we're not really sure what's going to happen. We see a gentleman who seems to be looking for music, and I said, you know, who are you here to see? And he said, oh, Ted Yoder. I couldn't come to a show tomorrow night, so I bought a ticket for tonight. And I was like, great. So I'm thinking to myself, well, he's here to see Ted. He's opening. How do I, you know, put on a nice show for this person? And so I talked to Ted and said, would you be comfortable if after you did your set and I did a couple songs, we just came together and did some stuff? And it was a low risk. There was one person who, you know, presumably wasn't going to post it everywhere. And so if it didn't go well, we, you know, it was a risk. I think if there was 2 people, maybe we wouldn't have done it. Certainly if there was 4, we might not have done it. But we did it, and it was amazing, actually. Instantly, we really played well together. The timbres of our instruments fit very well together, and Ted sort of found out the story because he hadn't quite heard all of that about the booking person, and he said, "Man, you should open for me tomorrow night." And I was like, "Would you mind?" And he's like, "No." So I came out again. Lacey let me stay another night. I come out the next night and play for all of his fans that came out the next night. So it was just wonderful. It was something that just never, like you mentioned, Indiana and Ohio, I don't know, it just probably wouldn't have happened. And even if 10 people came that night, I think we wouldn't have experimented with it, and it went very well. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you covered it.
Well, you know, it's interesting from an instrumentation perspective. You know, folks who are listening to this can't see that Ted has a Hammered Dulcimer, and I think people are fairly unfamiliar with what the heck is a Hammered Dulcimer. But the voicings of these 2 instruments, I have to imagine that each of you found your way in your backgrounds to making music, maybe through different paths. But I'm cautioning myself not to make big assumptions. So like Ted, I would assume that with a Hammered Dulcimer, maybe you came up through, you know, symphonic or classical music. But, you know, what was your sort of backstory to getting to that night?
Oh gosh, no, classical was definitely not where I came from. I grew up playing piano, and I would, you know, I automatically composed my own music. I would be practicing, like, you know, Bach or whatever, you know, piano teachers force you to learn, and I would just, my mind would start to wander, and I would start writing my own melodies to the chord progression that they had put down there, and so I was always just composing my own stuff, so in a lot of ways, my wife doesn't like me to say this, but I call myself a music hack, because I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but I also know enough how to crash a plane, so it's always an adventure. Now, anyway, so then the Hammered Dulcimer appeared in my life I first heard it like the mid-'80s, and the guy that I heard play it was kind of a folk rock musician, and so right away I never heard Appalachian tied to the Hammered Dulcimer. I just heard what he did, and I was like, what the heck is that thing? And so then when I would see him in concert, I just was enamored, and it took me like over 10 years to find one, because I just didn't know anybody that played it, I didn't know anybody that sold it, didn't know anybody that built it, and so I don't know, I don't want to bore with too many details, but fast forward to 1997, my wife and I got married and moved down to Arkansas, and we had some leftover wedding money, so instead of buying a bed, because we were literally sleeping on the floor, my wife went and bought me a Hammered Dulcimer up in the mountains of Arkansas, and that's where it all began. And at that point, I was...
instrument?
What's that?
Is it that one?
No, heck no. We didn't have that much wedding money. Yeah, that's where it all started. It was one instrument that I played out of many, and besides it was the first stringed instrument that I had to tune that I knew, you know. So that was a whole
learning curve. And then the voicing of the instrument is tuned in fifths, so it's not a chromatic instrument like a piano. Even though there are chromatics in there, it's not linearly chromatic. So that in itself was just a really hard hill to climb, and taking my music theory and applying it to an open tuned instrument was very interesting. So yeah, 2010 I won the National Hammered Dulcimer Championship down in Winfield, Kansas, and I've been doing full-time Hammered Dulcimer music ever since.
Wow, that's something. I mean, because it's an obscure instrument, and I think, you know, but it has its place in the mainstream, and that was kind of an area I wanted to see if we could talk about a little bit, which is that contrast between what's happening on the edges, you know, on the margins, let's call it, and how it can have a big influence on what is happening in the mainstream. And I was wondering about, you know, both of you and your experiences in formulating your concept as a musical artist, but then also taking it to the streets, as it were, you know, or I guess the roadways of America.
I think my initial thought into the Hammered Dulcimer was, I don't know why, I didn't understand why there wasn't a band that would play the Hammered Dulcimer as the lead. You know, it's always guitar or piano. And so initially, I mean, I didn't even know of Mannheim Steamroller at the time either, which they don't necessarily have a lead Hammered Dulcimer player, but it was that band concept. And so my initial dream was to just make this front and center instead of some ancillary instrument that you would pull out every now and then. And so, yeah, that was kind of the driving force for me for a long time. And so leaning into not just my own compositions, but also picking up on some pop music that, you know, people grew up listening to, and that kind of stuff is, it's always fun. But I actually love composing on this way more than I do the piano. It's just magical.
Yeah, does that, oh yeah, Chris, let's hear a little bit about sort of your journey. I mean, we've heard a little bit about music theory here. I'm going to sort of lean in a little bit. Are you self-taught? How did you sort of formulate your concept as a musical artist?
I was self-taught for a lot of years when I was younger, and then I did study. I went to school, I studied music and poetry. And the concept was really, I think it's just something about my maturation process, because it was a lot of looking and being interested in other people's concepts and sort of like hitting a lot of dead ends. And so it was later, you know, in my early 30s that I had kind of explored a lot of avenues and was always kind of getting stuck. And I ended up meeting who would later become my producer on my debut album. And at the time I was doing some film scoring, which was just another one of those things I wanted to try. And he asked me to play him something. And I at the time I couldn't generate one of my film scores. It had been just short films that had been mostly digital on a computer. And so I had a guitar, so I just grabbed a guitar, I played a song for him that I had written called Adelaide. Me and Ted will play later. But this song was an old song. I'd written it, 2011, 2012, something like that. And he heard this song, and I was not thinking, yeah, this is my cutting edge, this is my concept, or anything like that. It was just I felt it was a good song, but I wasn't generating it from that mindset, and it was also. And he heard it, and he had a really strong reaction to it, and he began to encourage me, really for the first time, to allow the concept to come from who I already was and what I was already doing. And so I was really into poetry, I was into contemporary classical music and jazz and more avant-garde music. And for this producer, he was telling me, really, I could be free to do all the things that I do. I don't have to try to create lyrics that fit any kind of mold. I don't have to, if I'm avant-garde, I don't have to be, completely out. If I'm writing a pop song, I don't have to be completely straight in the middle. I could just, his word for me was to find the crack of light in the whole singer-songwriter thing. Just what is your crack of light? His band is called The Bad Plus, and he said, we wanted to find the crack of light in the piano trio. What could we do? And then just explode through that one crack. And for me, it was the singer-songwriter, but I don't have to be like all the other singer-songwriters. I can be who I already am and just be like more of it. So that was it.
Can you remind me his name?
Dave King.
Oh, Dave King. Right. For the music nerds in the audience, the Bad Plus is a jazz trio who rose up, I would say, in the very early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, in the sort of the wave of modern jazz, who did what the old classic jazz folks did, which is take pop music and reinterpret it by lots of extensions and sort of conceptual development of the music itself. And the Bad Plus were a bit revolutionary at the time, and the critics loved them.
I think they were the first ones to do a Nirvana song.
They did.
And a lot of people have done that stuff now, but they were, 2003, that album came out where Smells Like Teen Spirit is on there, and it's just a piano, bass, and drums. And it just sounds like, if you haven't heard it, check it out. That album is really incredible. It's called These Are the Vistas.
Yeah.
These Are the Vistas.
These are the vistas. So that's a little diversion into music nerdy for everybody. What's interesting there too, though, is the instruments together, and especially the Hammered Dulcimer, speaking of musical, extension, or the concept of extension in music, especially in musical voicings. And Chris, you were just talking a little bit about having freedom, versus conformity. How has that developed in you as you've gone from writing songs that 12, 14 years ago, that you just said were sort of older, seems like a blink to me, but how has that evolved in you, right? Taking the liberty of extension.
It was almost like two phases. There was the initial phase where I felt like it's okay if I take more abstract things or more harmonically complex or rhythmically complex things and write that way. And I can be, my own personality can be the thread that holds the thing a little bit together and toward my end, So, can I play too?
Yeah.
Okay. So, a good example was I had written this song called City Living, and that was kind of the main riff. And I was singing it all over the place. I was singing tons of different time signatures throughout this thing. And I was telling Dave, the producer, or drummer, and I said, he wasn't playing with me at the time, we were just talking about the song, and he was like, just sing the thing the way you want to sing it, and then go back and figure it out later. And so it ended up being this thing that always moves. So, and I did have to write it down because he had to play it, so we had to do the same thing. So I had to figure out what I was doing, but it just moves so much. It's 3, 4, 2, 3 and a half, 1, 2, 3, and it's just 3, 3 and a half, 2 and a half, 3 and 4. It's just those 4 just move, and there's not really a pattern. But we realized, once we did that, once we got it tracked, it was like, if you don't think about what this is, it almost sounds like an old Delta blues recording where they were just like 12-bar blues is like a thing that came I mean, I shouldn't talk about this in Chicago because there's history here. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But like, it was a thing that developed. It wasn't there day one, like with Robert Johnson or John Lee Hooker, or these people, like, they would just, there'd be so much space and movement and undulation. And so here this song evolved into something that sounded in some ways related to something very old. Anyway, then now that I've released that album and I kind of was freed up to do some stuff like that, I feel like the new wave of freedom is like, can I actually not shy away from doing something that doesn't change chords at all, or that just keeps the same? Like, I was almost like, no, this is too simple, I need to do something cooler here, but it's like, no, that's just putting myself in another box. So the stuff, like one of the songs you'll hear us do together is like this. It's called Dinosaur. It's actually the first song we did together, the night I talked about. And that's like 90% of the song is right there. And I have another song that I just wrote that's called Two Secrets, and it just goes, and that's it. I think there's a thing at the end. But anyway, all that to say, for me, freedom was like, you can be free to do all the abstract things you want to do, but then it was like, I caught myself boxing myself in, like, oh, that's not interesting enough, oh, that's not abstract enough. It's like, no, that's another box. Get out of that one too.
And Ted, likewise, I mean, you have practically unlimited voicings in a way on that instrument, and you already compared it to the piano. And we should, in just a minute, break away for folks to hear, kind of what we're talking about, because this has been great. How do you navigate your decision-making process about, maybe, as Chris was just saying, you can go anywhere, so do you, how do you either narrow into something or you just let it fly? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh boy. I think as I've gotten into the past 4 or 5 years, I've started to see, patterns of my style of playing coming out. And so just to like 2010, so yeah, 14 years. I feel like I'm still exploring the instrument in a lot of ways, but it takes a lot. It takes a purposeful effort to sit down and do something that doesn't just come out of practiced motion. So I'll like try to play, 3 different minor scales starting on the same note. And that doesn't seem like that big of a deal from a guitar or a piano, because you're really just changing, 1 or 2 notes a half step. But on the dulcimer, your whole hammering pattern has to change. And when you just play around with stuff like that, you suddenly have these modal changes, these harmony changes, and you're just like, oh, I've never done anything like that. And in order to make the jump from note to note, because a half step on the dulcimer on the hammered dulcimer can be all the way across the instrument and either up or down, from where your beginning note is. So yeah, someone was a sadist when they made this thing. But anyway, so yeah, because this is also a percussion instrument, you can not only explore the melodic side of it, but you can explore the rudiment side, the drummer side of it. And so depending on what pattern you're playing, what rhythm you're playing at, that kind of stuff, if I'm practicing paradiddles or 5-stroke rolls or something like that, that lends itself to something totally different. And then if you start it with your left hand rather than your right hand, what does that do? So those are just when I have time, and like I said, I usually have to force myself to do it at this point, because I've accomplished a lot of what I wanted to do on the hammered dulcimer. I'm always hesitant to say, to use the word mastering an instrument, because there's always ways to explore and learn and grow. Yeah, so I don't know if
They
I
don't just
answered.
hand out the championship.
But you don't know all the people I do. So I know other people that play very, very, very good too. So and they each kind of go into their own style too. I kind of sit in that kind of rock and roll field. And depending on who I end up inviting on stage or into the studio, we've gotten into modern classical kind of sounds, if you will, with like Andre playing with me in some concerts on cello, and it's just, I don't know, it's just been a whole lot of fun. And right before the pandemic and a little bit after it, we were able to do some concerts where we had an 8-piece band and a 4-piece quartet, string quartet, and it was those were just, and times like that we're almost leaning into a prog rock kind of thing. So I don't know if I'm just wandering,
No,
yammering,
that's
but
great. I mean, it occurred to me that when you were describing all the movements and everything like that, the physical movements, that you were describing 3-dimensional chess, basically. I think that what would be interesting now, would be to have you actually play one of the songs you have prepared together, so we can hear the interplay between the two instruments. And then for folks who are here, we'll be then having each artist play separately. But if it's okay with the two of you, given where the conversation's gone, it would be really interesting to hear the two voices of these instruments working together.
Well, and what's interesting about Chris and his style and everything is there's a lot of people that have put guitar and hammered dulcimer together, but his style is obviously not rock and roll. My style is more rock and roll, but there's just he's got totally different voicings, and so that
I think
was
rock and roll is a bit of a spirit that you need.
yeah.
I'm kidding. Has there been any ever classical guitar in Hammered Dulcimer that you? That's what I was curious about.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they're strictly doing classical music most of the time, which I think you could take a nylon string guitar and do jazz or whatever with the hammered dulcimer, and it would sound totally different. Because much like just when someone walks in with a cello, they go, "Oh, you're a classical musician,"
Yeah.
Good. That's what they do with the nylon string too. So.
Which song do you want to do?
I don't know.
Adelaide or Dinosaur? I mentioned both. What do you feel?
Should we do Dinosaur?
Sure.
What's the, remind me of the I know what I do in the verses. What's that one chord change? Does it go to a C major? To a D? Is that right?
C sharp.
C sharp.
Yeah.
C sharp. I said C major. C sharp. That's what I meant. Okay. And then it resolves on the E.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes. Oh, just the end. Just the one. Just the one time.
Just
It's
one time.
big.
I
It's
knew it was in
important, so
there.
you can't miss that.
I know.
You can't miss the E major. All right, here we go. We'll play for a second so you can hear it. So just imagine the one guy sitting there listening to this amazing thing that's happening for the first time. Here inside dinosaurs, fossilized remains. So much space inside a skull. Teeth like a cage. This is just to say, I feel safe here. Just to say, I feel safe. I feel safe here. folded up kaleidoscope. My surface has changed, trembling river for the storms. Each has a name. This is just to say, I feel safe here. Just to say, I feel safe. I feel safe here. How lucky am I that he still stands so tall, lifting me high above the valley of gold. How lucky am I that he still stands so tall, lifting me high above the valley from which I have come. This is just to say, I feel safe here. Just to say, I feel safe. I feel safe here.
Well, that was cool. It brings to mind, we were just talking about interpretation. We're talking about jazz and sort of interpreting pop music, or pop tunes, right? I mean, because once upon a time, Thou Swell was a pop tune on the top of the charts, and it became jazz, or All the Things You Are, or Autumn Leaves, they all came out of show tunes. But for each of you, as a musician and touring musicians, where do you find the balance between interpretation and composition? Or origination, or I got scrunchy faces on that.
Is that just me that's French face? No.
No.
I'm confused. The difference between interpretation, like improvisation, and composing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the difference between, or taking familiar forms and interpreting them, right, into something fresh, versus originating something that perhaps didn't really have a mold that you knew to begin with, from which to interpret, right?
I think if I understand, I think it's a pretty similar process, because usually if I'm interpreting something that's pretty set, I'll find myself pushing up against something that makes me kind of feel bored or like distracted or something, and so I have to do something to like subvert it, to sort of push it to its paces, Like we have a song that I did, a song on the album where I sing this kind of American songbook. You say you're lucky to have me. No doubt that's true. The spell that I'm under, it really makes me wonder if I'm lucky to be had by you. So like cue the brushes, upright bass.
It's got that sort of extended blues turnaround.
Yeah, and so it's ready to go for that. But we sort of pulverized it in the studio, and Dave plays electronic drums set to like Roland 808 or something. He's just all up, it just sounds like a flurry of like Atari, an amazing feel and everything. But And then we did have upright bass, but it's totally distorted. And then we have this gnarly Bjork synth bass. And so sometimes it's just sort of like taking something that you deeply respect, giving it a strong bow, because I love that music. And then just doing something that just makes you feel like you can be honest about it and interested. I mean, that's really what it's like, interested. How do I make myself interested in this music? By doing something that's just, you know, like that.
I don't, I'm not necessarily a real strong music nerd, and I try not to get too esoteric. I kind of just follow the music where it wants to go, and the walls that I usually run up against is what have I been exposed to, you know, and so, you know, we can almost all of us, you know, learn 4 chords and play about 80% of the songs out there, you know. And so it's, I do plenty of that myself. Some of my, that's a lot of reasons why I'll try to do, I'll pull out some Beatles stuff or, you know, something like that, because it's like I'm not totally sure they knew what they were doing 100% of the time either, you know. And so the chord structures that they would bring through their songs and stuff, just makes me look at music a different way, and then especially on the Hammered Dulcimer, it's just not, I don't know, it makes you explore something in a different way. So I follow the music, and sometimes when I play with my drummer and my bass player, actually whenever we go to doing songs, I'll probably play this song first, but they asked me if I knew that I was like dropping a beat at a couple places, and I was like, what are you talking about, you know? And so it was just, I just felt it, and I never counted it. But then when I went into the studio and went to map it out, you know, then suddenly I'm like, wait, why am I off a quarter beat, or why does that measure have 11 beats to it? You know, so it's part of that just mapping out, having to write what you did, and you're like, wow, okay, so that is kind of weird.
It's a little bit prog rock. I once had to map out something from King Crimson, and you know,
oh gracious,
right? You know, so it's like 2 measures of 7/8 with a 5/4, and then they go off and do a vamp on 6/8 for 9 measures, and then you know, and then a 5/4 bridge, a 5/4, you know, gap. It's just crazy, right? Yeah. Or Zappa playing everything in 17/8 or whatever. That's music nerd stuff, folks. But you found that. I mean, well, there's an interesting kind of tension between that level of deliberate, you know, versus indeliberate, or just letting it totally flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm sort of hearing a theme here where you both really just let it flow more than that kind of deliberation. Although you've got a great deal of music education in both of your backgrounds. Do you find yourselves ever inhibited by that versus freed up by that? Is there a tension there?
I would say I do run into limitations or inhibitate? No, never mind. I don't think that's a word, is it?
Inhibition.
There you go. No?
Inhibition.
Inhibitations.
Inhibitations. We'll go with it.
With that flow.
Yeah. But then I just come back to, well, what do I want to do with it? And so sometimes I'll be playing something, literally, you know, composing a song, and I suddenly realized I'm not playing in 4/4 or 6/8 like I did, or wait, what did I do there? And so if I try to think about it too much while I'm composing, then I lose the creative flow of it, you know, and then suddenly. I think that's the difference when you're composing from a place of musical understanding and knowledge, you're automatically putting the creative process inside some form, and so you're suddenly doing 1, 6, 4, 5 chord progression because, well, that's what it just happened. But if you're just letting the melody and the rhythm, you know, I don't know, come from just what your hands wanted to do at the time. I don't know. That's the fun for me. And then I can figure it out later. It's like Chris was saying before. But then you got to find the musicians that you can write it out for and make sense to them.
Well, on that tip, while we're in this moment, I think it would be great to hear a solo piece on the Hammered Dulcimer.
This is just a song called Storm. I'll mute myself first.
Testing 1, 2. The contrast, well, I wouldn't call it a contrast. Before we were talking about familiar versus sort of obscure or novel, sounds, and I think that piece is a good example of that. I mean, certainly sounds familiar, right? It's easy to get. Where do you find the unusual? Where do you find inside your compositions? Where do you find that? Because on the one hand, it might just appear off the top of your head, right, as if it just dropped from the ether. On the other hand, perhaps you have to go looking for it. What's that journey like for each of you?
You want to go, or you want to think some more?
No, I'm good. I think you can. I think it's if you show up to presence or to some sort of like openness, something will come. You just have to be willing to let it be very odd, Like as soon as you try to make it something, you're sort of limiting. You're cutting yourself off from that channel or something. I don't know. Does that make sense? Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, being present, being in the moment, and also when you said being open to it being odd, made me think of allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable.
Sure. And just being willing to try it, knowing you could change it. I have a song that's in one key, and then it just abruptly plays a different key, and then it abruptly, and it just always it happens a few times when it goes back and forth, and they're related in a certain way, but it's pretty sudden. And I would say that sometimes those changes come to me at different parts of the day. So I might be working on a song, and then I step away from it, and then an idea comes to me, and I know in my head, it might even be in a dream, I'll know in my head that it's different, it's a half step off or something, but I'll at least give it a try that way. And as the artist, it's always down to you to decide, is this good enough to leave it this way? Is it good enough to release it this way? And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, no, my subconscious drifted a half step. I should bring it back. Like I should just keep it in the same key. I just did that on a song recently where I had this whole alternate section come to me in this dream, and it was like a half step off of what really would have made sense, and I was like, I'm gonna try it, it's walk the walk. And I was like, no, this wasn't meant to be like that. It wasn't meant to be off. It was meant to come, I just got it in the wrong key in my head. But there's other times when I'm like, no, that was it. That's not the right key, but that was it. I need to fit it. And then one of my mentors and friends, Dina Lenzner, who's a composer and music theory professor, composition professor, she tells me it makes her so nervous because she feels like I put myself into situations, I get myself into situations, she's like, there's no way he's gonna get out of this. And she said, he always finds a way out, And so I think that, but then like I said, the artist comes in and at the end decides, no, this isn't good like this, I need to work with it. But sometimes I think there's that openness, like let it, try it that way, just to see what happens. And if it's there's the chance that it might be really magic that way. Even something silly like I play at this hospital, and I sometimes get requested to play country music. So I'll do like old country and some Johnny Cash or something. And I was writing this song, and I was like messing with some stuff, and I had some lyrics. And I just felt this impulse to go all country on this one line, just to mess with it, And then I just left it like that. And it's sort of a gesture that I don't know, I wouldn't have just come to had I said, what am I going to do today? It just was there because I had been doing these songs for these patients.
Yeah, I think the I don't know. I heard Lacey make or at least not an agreement. There's something about Seth Godin always talks about showing up, and he's not a musician, but he knows about showing up and shipping. And there's Andre knows about practice and teaching students, and you know, and you have to show up. And if you don't show up, inspiration will never happen. It just won't, because it's not like, you know, I mean, you can't, if you sat around and waited for inspiration, whether it's for actual like art or musical art, nothing would ever get done, right? And then even if it did, it probably wouldn't look that good or sound that good because you hadn't put the work in. So I often thought it was interesting. I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm, you know, probably one of the main comments I get from people is, wow, you're so blessed. I mean, you have just like a really, like the talent was thrown on me and I couldn't do anything with it. And I know some people don't know how to say what they are trying to say, right? I heard, I can't remember who said this, but they said artists do for others what they can't do for themselves. And there's really cool things, correlations between art, music, the arts in general, and stand-up comedy.
Okay.
If you haven't, I mean, it's just interesting. Think about someone like Kevin Hart. I've listened to his biography, and I've followed him a lot. Jerry Seinfeld, that's going back to my day. You know, the stand-up comics are always willing to go to the edge, and because it's uncomfortable, they're allowed to because they have the microphone, and they know that they're supposed to make you laugh, and so if you couldn't laugh, you'd cry, you know. And they go to dark places, and they're able to do that because they make you laugh. And then it's not until you go home that you go, wow, that was really dark, you know. And I'm not saying that musicians or artists but we have, that's the thing, we work at going to what's uncomfortable if we want to, and so that other people don't have to. You wrap it in laughter, you wrap it in music, you wrap it in melody, you wrap it in a rhythm you can dance to, and suddenly you're singing something about the Columbine shooting instead of what you thought you were, you know, singing about. And so it's interesting. Yes, so circle back. Yes, I do believe certain people like Ryan Tedder should never have that much talent in one body. You know, I'm just saying that jealously. But he worked just as hard at his gifts and what he wanted to do with music. So yes, I understand. I'm thankful for people that walk up and say, wow, you know, you're so lucky. It's like, no, I worked really hard. I really did. You know, and that's not to be boastful. But if you don't show up in anything, you know.
Chris, do you have a song that sort of slots into this piece of the conversation?
Sorry, dude.
About Columbine?
No.
Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Or showing up. Or anything.
Yeah. I have a song about anything. I want to do that song I was, the quasi-country riff that I just never uncountrified.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The song is called Warm Tight Sweater. I have forgotten the steps that led to that warm, tight sweater, and the black skirt floating before me like some magic forest creature guiding me, wasting me, liberating my imagination. Do the right thing, do the small thing, wasted on starlight. Would I accept a deed get away from windows, the explosion of my sorrow. You tie a string to a butterfly to fabricate a twisted kite. It's just a plaything for any small thing. Like you, like you, like you, like you, like you, like you. Are you fucking with me? I should have lied, embraced the baby, not the vibe. It's just a plaything for any small thing. Like me, like me, like me, like me, like me, like me, like me. You mentioned the darkness sneaking in. I didn't think about this when it came into the song, but in the middle, the central image of that song is someone tying a string to a butterfly to make a kite for a small creature. That's dark, but it's a fun song. So how do you get away with that, as a musician? It's crazy.
I was humming that song all the way home from Columbus last week.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, there was shades of a. I think I heard a classic gospel melody a little bit.
At the beginning,
Yeah.
or like the intro, outro.
Yeah.
Well, I'd written this song, and it had this like big moment where it says, "Like me," like and it goes up, And I thought, I know that somewhere. There's some song that goes up and says, "Like me."
It's Amazing Grace.
It's Amazing Grace. So I start with that. Yeah. So I start, let's say, "Oh, wretch like me, I have forgotten the steps," and so on.
Right. So we've been nerding out on some interesting, musical terminology and whatnot, but it brings to mind something, and thank you, Ted, for bringing up Seth Godin, another one of the sort of the theorists in user experience design in that whole world, which is Lacey's world as well. Opened one of this great book about the difference, and pointed out the difference between complexity, or being complex, and complicated. The difference between complex and complicated. Well, I guess the first part of this question, before I go any further, is: have you ever contemplated the difference between complex and complicated?
Yes and no. I tried not to go too deep.
Okay. Well, but this is a talk show, so we gotta go somewhere. So the interesting thing is that complexity, the human mind loves complexity, right? Puzzles, right? Wordle, right? So, and then we're drawn into it. Complicated, like those little car models that you get at the Kitty City, at the toy store, and you have to put all the little pieces together with glue. That's complicated. We don't like complicated. And there seems to be, in both of your music, there's a lot of complexity in the music, but sometimes it does get complicated. There's some really advanced chord voicings, right, in Chris's music, and some very advanced combination of rhythm and melody and harmony, right? In that instrument. How do you navigate staying sort of within a zone of accessibility and melodicism, between, you know, in the poles between complex and complicated?
I mean, I think it's just kind of up to the artist what they want to be known for. I mean, I don't know if I'll get stoned for this, but you know, someone like Ed Sheeran doesn't do a lot of complicated stuff. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, so it may come out horribly wrong. I admire him immensely for what he does, because he does it really, really well. But I wouldn't say musically it doesn't lean toward, you know, the prog rock kind of stuff. On the other hand, you take Trans-Siberian Orchestra. There's another one that I can't think of right now, but they do stuff that's complicated, and they don't care if you can relate to it. Now that's speaking from the cheap seats. I don't know them personally, so you know. So I don't know that. I think it's up to the musician, the artist, you know, the painter, sculptor, whatever. You know, where do you want to draw the line? Do you want to be accessible? Do you want to be memorable? You got it. There, I don't know. I feel like there's a balance between complex chord structures and voicings, but if the melody's memorable on top of it, you won the war. So I don't know if that even answers your question, but I think I don't know. I just feel like you can pick any avenue you want. It just depends what level of fame you want as well. I don't know if that's.
Do you have some thoughts on this one, Chris? Or
I think that my vocal teacher for 4 weeks, who older lady, she had sung with Leonard Bernstein. She was like serious. I think her email is diva at AOL or something, you know. And so
AOL.
she's real serious, and she heard my stuff, and she wasn't that into it, to be honest. But she was like, "You just have too much that's like difficult. If you're going to have difficult lyrics, you need easy music. If you're going to have difficult music, you need an easy melody." It's all too hard for her. I mean, I think I like my record, but I did take it. I took it. I internalized it a little bit and thought about it. That's what I did. There's been decisions I've made since then. Ed Sheeran actually came up in my song writing the other day, where I wrote this song, and then the song I mentioned, where it came to me a half step off in my dream, and I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna write it, and it's in this key, and it's got a strong Ed Sheeran vibe. Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, Ryan Tedder. My wife, who's a big fan of Taylor Swift, was like, I don't hear it, but to me it's like that's what I'm quoting or referencing. And I thought about that teacher, and I was like, let me just let it be what it is. Let me not change keys. Like, why not, you know? So I think as long as it's not distracting, as soon as it's distracting, then it's probably too complicated.
it would be good to hear another tune that you play together right about now. If that's okay with you guys.
You wanna sing or you want to do instrumental?
We only got one instrumental, and it's your big hit. So you wanna throw it out there now, or what do you wanna do?
Yeah.
All right.
Is that good?
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Let's do it.
Big hit.
Big hit. This is where he was talking about how you get famous. This guy knows a thing or two. Raccoon is key.
Raccoon is key.
I was being real ginger about muting my strings at the end because I heard this beautiful ringing and I thought, oh, I don't want to end this too soon. And I touched my strings and it wasn't my guitar, it was his thing. So it just wasn't the sound that I thought it was. And that was nice.
Yeah, the interweaving of different voices, right? It's primordial, and you know, when we were living in caves, right, regaling each other with tales of mythological creatures with the shadows slipping on the walls from the hearth, right? The interweaving of voices must have done something that still sticks with us. I think that in sort of this segment, it's like we've talked about law stuff. So I really just have one last area of curiosity, and I think we should just then let you guys play some music. If that okay with everybody. The concept of creative destruction became, you got me stuck on Seth Godin. The concept of creative destruction became kind of voguish over the last, say, 20 years or so, and in a way, there's a little contradiction in it for me, and I just wonder about your thoughts on that, which is that, you know, if in order to create something else has to sort of be subsumed or somehow transformed. You know, in your own creative process, the act of creating new work, you know, new material, new art. Where do you sort of find yourself if you had to contemplate that quickly, briefly, right? That notion that, you know, does something have to sort of give for something else to get?
I don't think it's a zero-sum game, to put it as simply as I can think of it. Somehow we haven't run out of melodies. Somehow we haven't run out of beats, even though everybody knows, you know. But you can, I was just teaching one of my kids, we were talking about music and rhythm, and I showed how, you know, we went through about 10 songs that did that "We Will Rock You" rhythm, you know. But anyway, I don't ever fear that something that I create suddenly takes away from, that it ceases to exist something else. I'd be afraid to create if that was the case. And maybe that's not where the question was going, but that's where I kind of felt it was going.
It's close enough. Close enough for rock and roll.
There you go.
I think I understand, but I think there's also this thing of like, you know, I've been reading Charles Bukowski lately, and I think he has this poem that's like, talks about how you shouldn't be a writer if you don't feel the sun like burning your belly, like. And so I think when I think about that, it's almost like you will be destroyed if you don't do the thing, because you've got some energy in you that will consume you. You will be engulfed in flames if you don't like channel it into something. So that's sort of the game I'm playing, trying to stay alive. Yeah.
Well, that's a happy note.
It's life or death. But honestly, that plays into everyday life, not just the arts too. I mean, if you want to talk about, any number of I'm going to stumble over my words, but if somebody wants a safer neighborhood or a cleaner neighborhood, or if that type of thing, any kind of endeavor, passion that's burning inside of you, you eventually have to either die a little bit or get it out there. And to what level it goes is up to you. When are you going to show up?
And that was a good theme for today's friendly conversation, showing up. And on that tip, thank you all for showing up for our live recording of a friendly conversation. This has been Ted Yoder and Chris Gatton in the conversation part. Let's have a round of applause. So we wanted to reserve some time for you to play music without being interrupted by chit-chat. And we have arrived at that moment, but and we can edit this part out. Are you gonna, well, you'll figure out playing solo, playing together, however that might go. You good?
Yeah, I think we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Let me go. Sure.
I'm going to do a song I've been excited about called Two Secrets. Just I alluded to it earlier. I got two secrets and you only get one. Hold me close, darling, at the end of the night. This time I know I'll wait. This time I know that was my one mistake. That was my goal. Two of us together, two of us together. It's a really new song, I can't remember.
You'll remember.
Two of us together, but when you catch another, I can't. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Ted remembers it. Two of us together. Hold on.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe I got to that part too soon in my head.
I got two secrets and you only got one. Hold me close, darling, at the end of the night. This time I know I'll wait. This time I know that was my one mistake. That was my goal. Two of us discover the wonder of each other, but if you catch another, it's frightening. Three, you say we're finished, so let me take a minute. It's best to stay indoors when it's lightning. Am I a Viking at heart? Spherical radio tower. You can take another without me. I got two secrets and you only got one. darling, it's the end of the night. Nobody gets there, seen it before. When what I want gets here, don't want it anymore. I could take it closer, but when you say it's over, my instinct is to stick to the writing. If I keep it innocent, maybe I'll get over it. It's hard when it becomes so enticing. Am I a Viking at heart? Two of us together, two of us, spherical radio tower. You can take another without me. I got two secrets and you only got one. I got two. I got two. If you come along with me, promise you quite the ride. Ask for anything you please, you could be satisfied. You love the mystery, do you really wanna know? I could be the one you need, but I'd still be both. I got two secrets and you already know.
We're just gonna go back and forth on this.
Let's do it.
Okay. This one is called Moon on the Water, and it was composed at 4 a.m. not too far from here when we were living in Aurora. So there's a longer story, but I won't go into it.
I'm gonna do a song called Crack. This is a song called Crack. Sorry, my daughter. Yeah, I don't know if she knows the name of the song or something. She's heard it. And it's a little bit newer, so. But this is a song about kind of what we've been talking about, this idea of turning something into something else. And so in this case, it's sort of a boy's channeling of some challenges, some abuse, some struggles, and some confusion into his practice of baseball. And so I'll just do this song called Crack. What else could make him run like that? The fire of the sun. He faces every charge like that. Cracked every whisper one. He would go to the diamond after school. Play a game where he could understand the rules. Try to break the shadow off his back. Leave the field with nothing left. What could make him run like that? She tell him straighten out your back. She tell him you'll be fine. Until she finds the glass is cracked and breaks him into line. He would go to the diamond after school. Play a game where he could understand the rules. Try to break the shadow off his back. Leave the field with nothing left. What could make him run like that? He'll cover anything he lacks and sacrifice the one. His mother with her sharpened axe will call the perfect son. He would go to the diamond after school. Play a game where he could understand the rules. Try to break the shadow off his back. Leave the field with nothing left. What could make him run like that? The water is clear, the water is clear, the water is clear, don't stir it. The water is clear, the water is clear, the water is clear, don't stir This is a song called Tie It Back. Tie it back, just like that. Sweep the tokens with perfume, making the wind turn my face. Look at that, you're a delicate diamond that's rapidly vibrant. You're only ever one, but I myself am ready. Have I got room for one? When by myself I'm plenty. Bring a drink, make it black. It's the heat in that distance, the promising cadence with me. Back to back, we'll speed up to the weekend. There's nothing to see here. You only ever were, but I myself am ready. Have I got room for one? By myself I'm plenty. When you hold out your hand, you find the universe within it. Realize the journey is never not beginning with the only one. I myself, am the only one. I myself, you only ever were, but I myself am ready. don't know if this is complicated or complexity, but the chords in that chorus are a palindrome.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that is.
I think writing chords in the pattern of a palindrome is just fun,
Oh, yeah.
right? It defies all other deltas and axes of, over-intellectualization.
It was really beautiful. It's a diverse treatment that song is getting today.
That's right.
It was this amazing, like almost like rain dancing around the melody, and then I have it bookending a song about how we use each other in relationships. This is a song that I think I never thought about this, but the Bukowski thing, the sun, I think relates to this song. This is called Volcano. And it's about an older volcano encouraging a younger volcano to go ahead and like burn and explode, because that's how you get bigger. And that's, I suppose that's the goal of a volcano? I've never thought of that. It's the next song, I guess. This is called Volcano. Don't cool the past away. You love to be on fire, don't you, kid? We are growing, we're out of space. We are growing, we're out of space. How far can I go? The ocean will always know. How far can I go? Your diaphragm, don't hold it in. Make something that's worth dying in. Let burn your heart. Don't cool the past away. You love down to the wire, don't you, kid? How far can I go? The ocean will always know. How far can I go? The river, the lava knows. We are growing, we're out of place. We are growing, we're out of space. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
What time we got? I don't know.
You just have all the time in the world.
You wanna do one more each? You go.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do this one because we were talking about like inspiration and all that kind of stuff. And for those of you who don't know much of my backstory, I have a lot of children, so this song, a lot of my songs have something to do with my children. And this one was inspired out of my 3 youngest rescuing kittens in a downpour. And so this is called Journey Through the Rain.
first, I just want to thank Miguel and Lacey for this awesome podcast thing and bringing us. And I really love being here. This is such a cool community that I hope I haven't overstayed my welcome, but I plan to keep coming back. And I'm glad to introduce you to Ted. Okay, I'm going to end with, this is a song that Ted seems to like, and I think it could single-handedly bring back the iambic pentameter to the popular English verse. You watch, you mark my words. This is called Ghost Boy.
The only thing worse would be if they were doing Wonderwall.
I like this one.
Before you start, hold on. It's okay.
So it might be open.
Fall on the door.
Is the door open?
Is that Coyote? Wild
Coyote Fire.
Is that the modern day Saints?
Yeah, yeah.
Coyote
That's better.
Fire.
That's better.
They're great. Different.
Left the flower opened up for you. Sanctuary with bonnet and dew. When you dive in, I don't know what to do. I want you to see, I want you to see it through. Move the sand along the ocean floor. Fold the waves, the blanket, the shore. Still I'm unable to get through to you. Do you even feel the air I'm walking through? You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. Make a sculpture you could sink into. Body of water, my favorite blue. When you dive in, I don't know what to do. I'm standing here, I want you to see it through. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. Could be gone, could be gone, I said it. Could be gone, I said it. Could be gone. Move along, I said it. Could be gone, I said it. Could be gone, could be gone. Could be gone, I said it. Could be gone, I said it. Could be gone. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy. You never see me, I am a ghost boy.
Woo!
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for being here. This is the Friendly Conversation. What I'll actually do is I'll actually be recording something in the studio to sort of end the show. So this is all just, you know, like you get to see it behind the scenes.
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
Do you guys play Adelaide together?
Oh, right. We can do that.
I would really love to hear that.
Do it? Sure.
Which one?
Why don't we have a special request? This will get in the show. This part will get in the show.
And is there a
mentioned this.
story behind this?
Well, I mentioned how it gave me my big break with Dave King, but that's a little tongue in cheek. But it does have a story. I wrote this song, which is really about looking back on a relationship and just holding out, a little bit more. And I wrote it on my honeymoon, so that's a really beautiful story. No, it's true, actually. It's something that we joke about, but I think it's a beautiful song. My daughter, she said, I think it could be in a movie, and it's like an old man thinking about his dead wife. That's what my daughter said. Oh, are you thinking about Up?
Oh yeah. That could have gone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, she said that. It was cute. So this is Adelaide. Please take me down to the ocean. Let me go out to the sea. And the wild, wild waves, they'll remind me how our love first came to be. Gray like the clouds in the morning, gray like my true lover's eyes, gray like my words when I'm angry, color I couldn't disguise. Adelaide, you and I, we can still make it right. Don't say goodbye, Adelaide. We will walk through the night till the morning is white, taking our time through this life. Oh, Adelaide. Darling, we still got our problems. Oh, sometimes I don't know where to start, but it sure don't hurt to remember how very lovely you are. Adelaide, you and I, we can still make it right. Don't say goodbye, Adelaide. We will walk through the night till the morning is light, taking our time through this life. Oh, Adelaide. Adelaide, you and I, we can still make it right. Don't say goodbye, Adelaide. We will walk through the night till the morning is white, taking our time through this life. Oh, Adelaide. Thank you. And thank you all for coming. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Woo!
The these episodes will be coming out in the near future. So the the Friendly Music Community Podcast is on a monthly schedule, and then on its regular episodes, and then these are special episodes. This is a kind of a new thing where, we've sort of blown up our own monthly schedule, and so I will be working on getting a release date that'll be closer to today, right? So you don't have to wait till May 1st or whatever, because you don't have to wait. So we'll stay in touch. But it's on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. And if you Google search Friendly Music Community Podcast, all 4 words, you'll find it. Tell your friends.
I'm sure you get a lot.
Okay, so seriously, this
Yeah.
right? It's like nuts. This it's like I was like,
If it's,
you know, the best time, and it was so informative.
if I wasn't playing with Chris, I could have probably just
I'm like so excited about it. To me, this kind of
Yeah.
like it's really, really cool, and it also
mostly it would come from
Yes.
humid outside, air conditioned inside, or vice versa. That really sends a warm.
What were your big takeaways from those conversations?
What?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so like,
Well, that my live
this
game,
year broke a couple months ago.
like I can't, it's not that I was, it's that it's very much like being integrated to the online video. Because a lot of the sound they go into music
So
more
like if,
Sure.
they just like good, it's still creative ideas, but they also have like, they also have anything like it's not just about moms and they really, and I feel that way too, but it's kind of cool to get those movies on it, to feel that way with the friends in that room, like,
Interesting. Yeah.
so, it was awesome that you made live. It was just super,
yeah, so it goes up that scene,
when you hear people's reaction to the songs, or like you see, you know, what was that lyric, or what things they think, it's like, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Live reactions, you know what I mean?
It's like this feedback,
Immediate,
right? Yeah, it's amazing. Like, what are other spaces creatively that you like, set yourself up for that? So it feels really unique.
It is. So need to email them, so they're all like, oh, so where can you use it? I'm like, it's not. I'm like, I'll send you that. And then it was the other
Were you
day,
like, you're on the ground floor?
well, that's what I said. I was like, and then, yeah, exactly. And it's like, this is so cool. Like, I'm gonna definitely send them a link. And like now, like, send them private links so then you can marinate on it. I'm just like super excited.
Well, I also love that this is like building a little following, or maybe a big following for like
one of them was like,
non-movies
oh, my sister lives in Yoder. And I go, I just and it's just like, this is really good. You know what I mean? And so like, this is, and this was like, okay, so I made a great decision, you know, and then, and you're reached out to me too. I can't open that burger and I was like trying to put it on to get, you know what I mean, to do the sharing.
Oh yeah.
Upstairs, but I wanted to be nice to meet you.
Good job.
I don't know where that is.
Yes, it does.
I've been like, it's etiquette. That's all I'm trying to help you build.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like laser focus. They're both so smart.
I only know the first one. So do you know when you're releasing your stuff?
No, I'm working on it all now. That's the thing. That's why
No, I understood.
She was just telling me about her first mom focus group that she had last night.
I was getting together, you know, like still wanted to the record and get like feedback.
What did they say about this?
Great, it's some good ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just sounds like so. Lacey's gonna hopefully. I'm gonna host a encore night so that more ladies can
I
listen.
totally understand if my music isn't the right fit, but if you want me to come out,
That was not what that was about. It was about timing.
no, I meant for your stuff.
Yeah.
If you're doing something, right?
Yeah. We'll try to like align it, you know, if you're So did you decide what you're gonna do tomorrow?
I think we're gonna aim for that.
Yeah, what is that?
Camp?
What is it?
It's like a kids activity place.
Oh,
Where is
There's
it?
one in LA and a couple in New York. I don't know. I don't know that. Yeah, I never went that part.
Chris, they were in the beginning.
It's in the city.
Yeah.
By the time they walked down the aisle, I was gonna look it up because you said it when I was driving.
Like the biggest tower, I was suggesting going to the Willis Tower on your way out. Like, are you going to?
Yeah, I gotta look
But
at it.
and here's the thing, on a Sunday morning, you're not gonna have. Show up at 9.
Yes, it is. It's
If it was
supposed to be like
today,
70
that's the
again.
thing.
Yeah.
They go and there's a lot of I feel like
This one is scared.
they would be like, you know, would kind of somewhat mindful, but it can also go far.
Which one is scared of heights? At a distance, they don't work together.
Yeah, that would be.
So
That would be a lot, especially
closer
honestly.
depth.
So I actually want to, if that's the case, you can want to go to cloudy anyway.
When you put your finger on one of them, there's just to mute there.
You can, but typically what I'm doing is I'm bending
That it's amazing and you're amazing and it's gonna be amazing.
bend it.
No, it was really
Create the illusion that I'm actually bending up.
So are you guys gonna grab some food? Is that what I hear?
Do you have any recommendations?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what's so easy is 2 doors down is Bona Beef, but they've got burgers and chicken sandwiches and salads and fries and they have like a wide variety of yummy and healthy and it's like not gonna break the bank and it's right there, it's fast.
But nobody's waiting on you. You go out, you know.
Something from Fiddler on the Roof.
I feel like we are the happiest food people.
I suppose I should stop this.